Annyeong, we are One to Sarang.
Your next favorite Hallyu podcast.
We talk K-drama.
Ang daming kilig every time
Oh my
we
God.
see drama.
We also talk K-pop.
Yung feeling ko sa 17 na they bring me so much happiness.
And we live to entertain.
What you gonna do when Dicky steak in front of
Check us out now on Spotify and Apple Podcasts.
Also on YouTube. Join us sa tawanan at kwentuhan from One to Sarang.
Hi, this episode is not suitable for everyone. Parental guidance is advised. We are Bunk Collective.
Welcome to your Unfiltered Wrestling Podcast. And this is the MTV Show Podcast, our wrestling podcast. Okay, so first thing foremost, I want to apologize for last week's episode. Ang lala ng problema ng last week's episode natin, ano? Kasi, ewan ko, for some reasons, my microphone got fucked up. Thank God today, hindi. Thank God ako kasi hindi. Di na siya nagloko. But, yeah. Also, yung mga nagloko din, sa WrestleMania, WrestleMania disorder pa ako. Na medyo may hangover pa for last week's WrestleMania episodes. Like, on these drunken midnights, I recorded for over 7 fucking hours. And hindi namin masave agad yung output ng audio for whatever reason it is. Hindi ko alam kung ba't hindi pa din nag-save yung audio. Buti na lang, nagantay kami until 12 midnight na masave lahat ng output for the episode. Buti na lang sinabihan ko si Slick na mag-single na lang. Nagsisingle din naman siya lagi. So, yun na yung ginawa niya. Single output. Putang nalalaglag na yung microphone ko. Wala pang 5 minutes. So, today on the podcast, sabi ko, yung part 4 dapat nung podcast natin, ginawa ko na lang na isahan. So, we're going to do a recap of what's happening or what happened on last week's part 4, yung Stand and Deliver, and yung Supercard. Papaspasin natin yon sa second part ng podcast kasi marami din tayo pag-uusapan on the first part, which is the happenings on all of the shows. Then third part, we're going to predict Impact Rebellion on this week's episode of the podcast. It's going to be a lot of talk here on this week's episode. Kaya pardon me if hindi na ako gaano mag-commentary sa mga pag-uusapan natin this week. Kasi it's going to be a lot of things to talk about on this week's episode of the podcast. Okay, but first, let me remind you that the podcast is available on all of the social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, and on TikTok at the MPA Show Pod. Then, of course, you can support the podcast on Patreon and Gank. Ganknow.com/ mali pala yung na-print ko. Ano ba yan? Patreon.com/ the MPA Show Pod. As low as $2 a month, you can access to our you can support to our local podcast content on the pod. Ayun, nakita ko na rin yung hinahanap ko. Okay, patreon.com/TimeTayShowPod. As low as $2 a month, you can access our content on the podcast and yung ating exclusive reviews for topics that we are not discussing on the pod. We are including that to our Patreon program, or Patreon service. Yeah. So, ang agenda natin for today's episode of the podcast is mainly recaps. Kasi hindi na tayo nakapag part 4 dahil ng WrestleMania eps natin. Tsaka yung sa These Drunken Midnights. By the way, it's a part 4, 4-parter series na available na on all of the podcast platforms. Pwede nyo siyang pakinggan. 5 hours if you can. Okay. Let's do this. Let's do the recap muna ng weekly shows before we continue on the regular programming that we have originally on the part 4. Fuck it. Okay, let's start the podcast with the special announcement by Triple H that the WWE draft is set in couple of weeks. Wala pang date specifically, pero ang original scheduled date daw ng draft is May 8th and the upcoming SmackDown of that same week. May 8 in Jacksonville, Florida. So, wala pa namang official reports about it. Pero possibly ito na rin yung maging confirmed date for WWE draft. In a couple of weeks, we're going to have a dream draft like what we did last year or last year. Pagawa tayo ng dream draft for this podcast na medyo pagninilayan natin yung nangyari. And yung mga possible din for the 2023 with the world title and of course yung tag titles, especially with this new development that we have just today, that the King and Queen of the Ring na magti-take place dapat ng May 27 is now Night of Champions. The main reasoning for this na naiisip ko is on that day, Roman Reigns will have his 1,000-day reign as the Universal Champion. Yun ang yung reasoning ko why we are introducing this. So, in terms of things, pag sinabi mong Night of Champions, it means every title will be defended. But we're not going to go over there for now. Kasi mahabang usapan nito, pang isang episode yon. And hindi ko kayang pahabain ng 2 oras o 3 itong episode na to ngayon. Para lang magka-ideya kayo on what we're going to discuss in couple of days. Yung draft is kagaya nung huli na magkakaroon tayo ng 4-rounder format. Then, we will see what's going to happen on that episode in couple of days from now. Pag-uusapan natin, pagplanuhan natin yung possible draft output ko. Pag nagawa natin yon, sige, I'm going to give a shot. And i-record natin yon for the podcast. Okay? Then, yung draft said by Triple H na magiging game changer ito. And ang magandang ideya about this draft is yung mga nakuha ni Triple H na indie darlings from 2022. Kasi 'di ba Vince is returned to the company by reports and nag-test drive siya nung Raw after WrestleMania, which is one of the worst WrestleMania episodes, post-WrestleMania Raw episodes. Wala eh. I'm glad that this Raw is hindi na Vince Raw. Ito, nalaglag na naman yung microphone ko. Ano ba yan? Fuck it. I'm going to hold it on my own. So, itong Raw na to was not a Vince McMahon Raw. Para lang maging clear sa inyo. And, sabihin ko, medyo magpapakatotoo tayo. Itong Vince Raw na to was bad. Kaya nga sa sobrang bad, hindi ko na ginawan ng sariling podcast yun last week. And hindi ko na nalagay sa part 4. No? Yung may part 4 man tayo. No? Basta yon, wala nang mahabang debate. The Raw after WrestleMania was bad, and per reports, it's a testing drive if ready na ulit si Vince McMahon for bookings. Pero apparently, it's not. Ang may terms din kasi on the Vince McMahon contract after nung Endeavor deal, after ma-final nun, is hindi nagagalaw si Vince McMahon as creative or kahit ano, hindi siya gagalaw sa product. No? Pag gumalaw siya, out. Tapos ang discussion. Pero wala, di pa alam ko ano yung magiging clause nung deal na yun with Vince. Lalaman natin in couple of weeks pag medyo nararamdaman na natin yung Endeavor. Pero wala pa naman tayong nararamdaman na signs of Endeavor. I hope na it will remain the same WWE, same with UFC since I am a fighter fan too. Sana lang, MMA, sana lang yung nararamdaman ngayon ng UFC, ganun din ang mangyari with the WWE once na mag-merge na siya sa UFC into TKO, kung naman pangalan yan. Basta ang alam ko, yung stock name will be merged, no? Yung stock na TKO, yun yung babaguhin. Sabi na rin naman namin yun sa part 1 of the podcast na walang babaguhin sa product, walang babaguhin sa entities, both entities, the UFC and the WWE. But most likely, ang pagtutuunan nila ng pansin dyan is kung paano yung international rights. Pero ayaw pang pag-usapan yun. We're going to bring that in the proper talks, no? Proper discussion pag medyo na-lay down na yung terms and yung magiging terms na ganyan, terms and conditions for the upcoming broadcasting deals ni WWE in a couple of weeks. Pag napag-uusapan na yon, draft or kung namang mangyayari with this merger with the UFC. Basta yun, ayoko muna pag-usapan yun. Then, we have Brock Lesnar versus Cody Rhodes. Wala pang announcements for Backlash if ma-official na ito. But Brock Lesnar was challenged by Cody Rhodes for a title match at WrestleMania Backlash or Backlash. Backlash lang ka talaga. Ang gulo mo, Cody, yun na ba? Ang tanga mo. Ewan ko kung saan ba yung mistake na yun. Kung kay Cody ba na mistake o yung kay Vince. I think it's a Vince McMahon mistake. Kasi Backlash is being advertised as Backlash as is. Hindi naman WrestleMania Backlash. Hindi rin naman pinromote o introduce as a teaser na ito ay magiging WrestleMania Backlash. And ayoko na magdildil ang topic about that. Reset. We're not going to diss the names again. Basta maayos lang yung content sa Disney Plus. We're good. Okay. So Brock versus Cody, possibly the main event of Backlash this year. And ang rumors, balita, it's a title shot for the Universal Undisputed title, possibly at Night of Champions or SummerSlam. Wala pa tayong matinong source if totoo na with the winner of this main event, if ever, will face Roman Reigns. It's either Night of Champions. Night of Champions lang naman yung nakikita ko. Masyado pang maaga para mag-determine ng SummerSlam. True lang. Masyado pang maaga. Na mag-determine na tayo ng number 1 contender for SummerSlam. May pa lang. Yun. May pa lang. Tapos magde-determine na agad kayo ng contender for August. Edi, bakasyon na naman Kuya Roman mo. Right? Magbabakasyon na naman si Roman ng ilang buwan. 3. Nawiwili ata. Diba? Ang tawag doon, nawiwili eh. Sa mga ganyan, ayan, ayos ko na yung stand ko. Thank God. Ang tawag sa ganon, masyadong nawiwili. Nawiwili sa bakasyon. Sinabi ko na nga sa TDM na si Roman, okay naman magbakasyon eh. As long as he lost the title first. Pero sa draft, pag-usapan natin yung magiging take ko on the draft or the titles, kung i-split ba o hindi. Pag-usapan natin yun in a due course. Dito muna tayo. Haba pa to. So, okay, we have a matches for Raw and SmackDown last week. And ito na nga. So, Brutes versus Imperium Rolling Brutes. That was a fantastic opener from last week SmackDown. Tangina, ito palang match na to. Mas maganda na sa SmackDown o sa Raw last week. Itong match na to lang, mas okay na to kaysa sa Raw last week. In general, I'm saying this as a fan. Okay. So, notes pa from last week is Zelina Vega is possibly challenging Rhea Ripley for the SmackDown Women's title at Backlash. Ang ano kasi dito, ang base area kasi natin for this match is the feud between LWO or Lucha World Order at saka yung Judgment Day. But yeah, I'll give it a shot. Maganda naman yung chemistry nila together. Parang Liv at saka Rhea, if you ask me. Then, notes from last week's SmackDown. So, Jey Uso versus Sami Zayn took place in a SmackDown episode. Then, Matt Riddle returned. Good for him. Wala na akong masasabi. Good for him lang. Siguro, I don't want to give the bro a shot na mahaba, no? Parang sabihin ko lang, good for him kasi dagdag din yon sa mga iaalay sa bloodline. But yeah, good for him. Definitely good for him. Then, mahaba pa to. So, we have new tag team champions in the Fed for the women's division in the name of Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez. Then afterwards, Trish Stratus turned on Becky Lynch. Prior to that, a attacker, whoever host, may attacker, tangina na nauutal ako. May attacker kay Lita. Lita got attacked before the match. Bago mag-commercial noon. Lita was blindsided by someone. But I think it's Trish in the long run. Kasi, Trish Stratus is best when she's heel. Tama, di ba? Mas okay siya as a heel. And she's working more as a heel. May signs na nga rin ng heel turn actually, nung WrestleMania. Hindi lang natin na-discuss kasi lack of time. No? Pero, may signs na ng heel turn Yung pagsama ng tingin kay Lita o may pakilang si Becky kay Lita, not Trish. Or Trish kay Lita lang, may pake. But yeah, it's a sign naman na magte-turn na siya in the long run. But yeah, I'll give it a shot for now. And let's see what's going to happen. The rumor here, the kicker here, is the match, the final blow of this is set at SummerSlam. Ewan ko pero medyo matagal pa. I know i-build pa siya for a long run. But I don't know, it's too much. It's too much, man. Masyado lang harsh yung build up ni WWE right now, given on what they have right now, or in terms of the pay-per-view or PLE things. Masyadong maaga ang SummerSlam. Para masyadong maaga para i-build ang SummerSlam. Like, why we're build... Oh, fuck it. I'm going to... Shit. Like, why we're building shit for SummerSlam already? Hindi pa nga nangyayari yung King and Queen of the Ring or whatever name it is, yung Night of Champions. Hindi pa nga siya nangyayari. Nagbibuild na tayo for SummerSlam. No? Ang weird Like, naka-long term ba? Like, putangina, why we're building already for SummerSlam? Like, why we have to prepare agad for SummerSlam? Like, why? Why all this time? Like, we can put Trish versus Becky Saudi. Well, not. Diba? Why we'll put Trish versus Becky in a match at Money in the Bank? Maybe. ang haba-haba ng time para makapag-build ng feuds. Then you're going to put that in a fucking SummerSlam? SummerSlam is far away from this. We have only 2 weeks after WrestleMania. And now we're building SummerSlam already? Are you fucking kidding me? Seryoso, nagpapatawa ba tayo dito? Kasi masyado pang maaga para mag-build up for SummerSlam. Right? Nagpapatawanan lang pala tayo dito. Huwag na tayo magawa dito. Ganun lang. Di pwede. Okay, so news pa. So Io Sky is now the number 1 contender for the women's title. Dakota Kai is happy. Then Bailey is not happy. You know the obsession of Bailey losing women's title matches or big title matches. You know the big curse of Bailey on Bianca Belair. It's weird, but I don't know. I don't care about it anymore. Then, Io Sky. Yeah, Io Sky. Wala pang announcement for the contendership. Apparently, on this week's Raw, dapat mangyayari yung Bianca versus Io. But unfortunately, due to time constraints, tsaka yung yung delay ng ibang superstars, yun ang dahilan. Kaya nag-delay, nagkaletse-letse yung schedule. And maraming rewrites. But don't worry, it's a Triple H rewrite, not Vince rewrite. Always remember. Then, ano ba? So we have notes pa that Logan Paul resigned with WWE multi-year contract. Good for him. I guess, good for him. Then, Bronson Reed versus Lashley was colossal. Holy shit. We got this match. I wish we are getting more of this. Like, putang ina. Why we're getting a lot of good shit lately? Sana ito na lang yung... alam niyo yung maganda dito? They are keep building us really good matches, really good feuds. Except for the main picture. But why we're getting bad stories on the main shot? Diba? I wish we're having this same awesomeness sa main title, especially with the US title. Asan si Theory? Anyari? Nasa kangkungan. Speaking of which, ayun, nasingit ko. Kasi Theory, anyari kay Theory? Wala na. Finish na. Ganun parang gantang Wala ang labo din Then, ano ba? So, dahil doon sa mga notes na yun, mga daming rewrites, we have a bunch of changes from this card. Kagaya na to. So, we have Usos versus Alpha Academy. Then, we have the KO versus Solo Sikoa, number 1,000,100,100. Tangina, I understand the case ng delays. But, putangina, ang daming pwedeng ipain kay KO or kay Sami. Why we're getting this KO versus Solo number 999999999? It's just embarrassing at this point. It's just embarrassing at this point. Yes, it is. It's embarrassing. It's ridiculous at this point. Why we're getting this stuff at this point. Right? But yeah, I let it pass kasi may delay nga naman. So, why are we complaining mostly of the time? Diba? Okay. So, last thing, before we go to AEW, bago pala, magbe-break na nga muna tayo kasi medyo aayusin ko rin yung mic ko. Nalaglag na naman. So, wait lang. Hindi ako makahinga. So, wala tayong ganang explanation na nakuha on Trish Stratus filter. I'm glad na hindi sila nagbigay agad ng explanation kasi it's not how it works. We're saving feuds for something and maybe we're getting something big down the road. I'm good with that. Long-term storytelling. Ganyan. But SummerSlam is too much. I'm saying this paulit-ulit. SummerSlam is too much for this build-up. Yun lang ang sasabihin ko. Parang too much lang. Masyado siyang harsh. If tatanungin niyo ako, masyado siyang sobra. Okay. So yun lang. Yun lang muna for our WWE talk. Yung AEW Dynamite NXT will be bypassed on our second part. And then, pag-usapan na rin natin doon yung recap natin for the WrestleMania weekend, rest of the cards sa ROH, NXT, yung mga naiwan natin from part 4. Yun ang pag-uusapan natin for next part natin. We're going to take a short break for now. Let's check our bunkmates on Bunk Collective.
Hey everyone, this is Mo Twister, and you're listening to the Kingdom Podcast with the voice DJ Yuki.
That was the OG, Mo Twister, promoting this podcast. If you like Korean pop culture, or know someone who does, then get into it, and visit our Facebook, Twitter and Instagram pages at the Kingdom Pod PH.
We're proud to tell you that this is one of the premier shows to go to for your weekly dose of K-pop. So drop everything and listen to the Kingdom Podcast. Available in all your podcast streaming platforms.
Join us!
Picture this. Two guys talking about true crime,
weird mysteries,
horror stories.
But the conversation is light.
Mostly funny.
And sometimes naughty.
This is Scriptsalog,
a Spotify exclusive.
I'm Gideon.
And I'm Glenn. And we're serving huge portions of horror and true crime twice a week.
We'll make sure your cravings are satisfied.
And you'll be begging for more.
Char.
Check us out.
This is Scriptsalog, available exclusively on Spotify.
Okay, we're back on the podcast. Thank God it's better now. Mas okay na yung mic ko kumpara sa part 2. Okay, so we're back. Let's talk about NXT now. So NXT this week was headlined with a 4-way where the winner will face Carmelo Hayes at NXT Spring Breaking. Spring Breaking is set in 2 weeks, April 25. That's Tuesday. And we have a number 1 contenders match. It's Dragon Lee versus Chase Hughes, Doc Hudson versus Grayson Waller versus JD McDonough. I don't know, but get the fuck out, JD. Serious note, JD is main roster ready. If you ask me, in a good way naman, sabihin ko, JD McDonough is main roster ready na. If you are going to ask na masyado ka naman harsh kay JD, JD is ready for NXT he's ready for a main roster run. Sana lang bigyan siya ng pop. Alam niyo naman yung mga nag-main roster last year, hindi sila gana nabibigyan ng pop. No? Pag-usapan din natin yon in the draft episode next week. Pag medyo may time tayo doon. No? Then, so Grayson Waller won the match and he will face Carmelo Hayes for the NXT title at Spring Break in 2 weeks. 2 weeks tama. April 25 on Spring Break. It's good. It's good if you ask me. Then, Alpha Fire and Isla Dawn defeated Fallon Henley and Kiana James in a rematch. Yes, rematch. May pag-usapan nga natin yung thoughts ko. Recap ng NXT Stand and Deliver them. Then, Briggs and Jensen teased a split. Yes, split up. Kasi medyo naghihiwalay na sila eh. Mas napapriority na yung obsession ni Briggs and Jensen sa dalawa, kina Fallon and Kiana James. But I'll take it a slide kasi I love the chemistry of those 4. Pero concerned pa din ako, buti na lang wala na sa kanila yung tag titles, which is a good thing. Yun lang. Mamaya pag-usapan natin yun. Then Chase U is introducing Doc Hudson as their MVP for the division or for their class. Kasi si Duke hindi niya binitray yung Chase U from Stand and Deliver last week. So it's a good thing. Kasi mahaba pa yung storyline. And I'm glad Braun Breaker, di natin na-discuss yung heel turn ni Braun Breaker, no? So, Braun Breaker turned heel last week after of that celebration ni Carmelo Hayes. And then, he spared him. Tapos, this week on NXT, he offered Duke Hudson a title shot or yung slot niya for the NXT title shot later on. But he speared Chase Hughes, Andre Chase, and safe doon si Duke, no? So, Braun Breaker is basically a dominant heel now. Na sinabi niya wala siyang pakialam sa NXT title. It's a curse for him. And he will do anything para hindi na siya ma-please ng crowd. So, it's a good thing na medyo nag-upgrade yung gimmick niya. Yeah. Damn. So, Cora Jade returned on TV as well last week on NXT. It's a good thing for her. Then Indy Hartwell won the NXT North American title or women's title last Stand and Deliver. Then yeah. So we are getting possibly a triple threat or a singles match for Spring Breaking or Battleground. Yes, we have a Battleground face to face with Double or Nothing in May 29, Philippine Day. Holy shit. Where we're getting face-to-face PPVs or PLEs like this. But it's just embarrassing for NXT to counter AEW at this course. Then, okay. So, add to that. So, Tiffany Stratton is being groomed as the next champion, knowing naman na si Indy ay main roster bound na din. Diba? So, let's see what's going to happen in couple of weeks. Matagal pa ang spring break and 2 weeks pa naman. Isang buwan pa bago mag NXT Battleground. So, anything is possible at this point. No? Marami pang pwedeng mangyari or mangyayari in couple of weeks. Then, finally, a note to mention. Robert Stone or Mr. Stone is no longer on Von Wagner's side. So, it's a sign ba para sumama na rin siya kay Chelsea Green as attorney or reuniting them as a duo. It's a good thing for me, regardless of that. No? It's a good thing. It's a win-win if you ask me. But, yeah, we're going to predict that in due course or mamaya sa draft. Sa draft natin in a couple of weeks. No? Then, let's go to Dynamite now. First thing that we note here, Jeff Hardy is back. Jeff Hardy is back after of his recovery sa mental ba? Sa facility. Basta yun. He recovered due to his addiction, whatever. Ito na naman tayo. Pumapasok na naman sa isip ko yung yung promo ni Christian last year na tawag dito na relevant lang si Matt Hardy because of Jeff. But yeah, he's no longer part of the firm, si Jeff and Matt Hardy. Matt Hardy just for sure. It's a good thing na inalis na siya sa firm kasi di rin naman siya kailangan if you ask me. Okay lang siyang desisyon. It's a good thing naman. However, sana lang bigyan tayo ng explanation on that split up. Kasi I understand na nangyari siya sa Rampage, if I'm not mistaken. Konti lang nanonood ng Rampage. Sana magkaroon tayo ng explanation about it. No? Sana lang magkaroon tayo ng explanation doon. Then, BCC versus The Elite continues with Michael Nakasawa. I hate this. But yeah, I understand their purpose here. basta ang pangit. It disgusts me at this point. Then, okay, so we have basically 2 title matches. Powerhouse Hobbs defeated Silas Young in a open challenge. Ito nga, parang nga magkalinawan tayo. Yung mga open challenge, dapat on the spot yan eh. Why we're revealing the challengers for whatever title it is? If ito naman pala ay open challenge, ba't nire-reveal niyo sila on time? Ba't nire-reveal niyo sila on the spot? Putang ina. Why? Why we're revealing this? Like, open challenge, it means on the spot. Why we're revealing them right away? While ba't tayo nagre-reveal ng contenders right away? Open challenge nga ito, di ba? Hindi yata makaintindi si TK ng mga terminologies. Una yung All Atlantic, hindi niya maintindihan na walang Japan sa Atlantic. Now, we're getting this BS na open challenge kahit hindi naman open challenge. Like, putang ina, what's wrong with TK lately? Seryoso, bigyan niya na nga si TK ng bagong role. Or maybe magkaroon na nga dapat ng bagong creative leader sa AEW because TK is just nagkakalat at this point. Sa AEW, bakit nakapag-book siya ng magandang ROH pay-per-views and he's messing AEWs, right? It's weird. Okay, speaking of weird, so I'm going to bring this down to you guys that on August 27, that's Sunday, as far as I know, we're going to have a all-in London. I think it's Sunday sa atin or Sunday sa dito, US, whatever. Basta August 27, 2023, we're going to have a pay-per-view in London. And after that, per reports, it's all out. All out. Apparently, magte-take place siya sa US. Wala pang details about it. Basta, ang malinaw, the PPV will take place in the Wembley Stadium na may 90,000 seating capacity. I don't know kung ano yung sasabihin ko for now. Kasi if makakalahati lang ang AEW dito, I'm going to consider it successful. Kasi ang record naman ng AEW is 22,000 sa mga Grand Slam, right? Then, we're getting this show with 90K seating capacity. And plus, dinadagdag pa natin si CM Punk out of the sudden sa subject kasi may bali-balita din that Fightful is reporting that CM Punk wants to return to AEW. Ang nearest date for him is June 21 before Forbidden Door. Wala pa tayong full report about it. Basta malalaman nyo na lang siya in couple of weeks. Basta CM Punk wants to return to AEW. We will find out in a couple of weeks if ano nga ba ang mangyayari about it. Basta yun. I'm going to give it a slide for now. Malalaman natin in couple of weeks kung ano ba talaga ang mangyayari with CM Punk. I'll take it a slide for now. Madali lang. Then, so, isa pang thing to take note on this week's Dynamite, we have the main event, Jericho versus Keith Lee. And then, in the end of the match, Keith Lee was helped by Adam Cole. So, is this long-term storytelling? And ito na nga ba yung sinasabi na magiging backup ni Keith Lee si Adam Cole in the long run? But I don't think so for now. I'll take it a slide for now. Siguro magkakaroon pa naman ng time para ma-build up ito. And I wish na hindi talaga backup na parang idea sa WWE before. It's just stupid. They're equals. If you ask me, they're equals. And ayoko ng ganun na BS. Parang ang BS na ganun yung gagawin nila. Okay. So final on the story, speaking of Bullet Club, we're going to bring Bullet Club to discussion now. So we have now Bullet Club Gold. So first, we have to take notes of this stuff. Number 1, Juice Robinson and Jay White is now advertising themselves as Bullet Club Gold. Like, putang ina, why we're still having Bullet Club in the first place? Like sa Japan, seryoso, why we'll still have Bullet Club in the first place? Bakit may Bullet Club pa din, puta? I'm complaining this all the time na Like, kay Jay White pa lang, I wish Jay White killed the Bullet Club. But he didn't. I don't know what's the reason for it. Sana I wish he killed the Bullet Club. Wala na, patay na for good yung BC because of Finlay. David Finlay, thank you. Putang ina mo, the stable is dead. Speaking of Finlay, so, at Sakura Genesis, so, Finlay kicked El Fantasmo out of the stable. Then, ito na nga, nagkakaroon na tayo ng major storytelling na baka sumali si Finlay. Finlay ba? Di pa si Finlay. Si ELP, si Fantasmo, baka sumali siya ng Bullet Club Gold. Ito na naman tayo, yung mga gold na yan. Magkakaroon na naman ng Civil War. Gas-gas na yan. But seryoso, I wish na, putang ina, please disband Bullet Club for good. We don't need another Bullet Club bullshit here. Just disband the whole thing. Bullet Club is dead. Let's face it. Hindi na rin sila yung leading stable in Japan right now. It's TMDK. So, I think it's time for them to disband the whole Bullet Club. Like, after Jay White, BC is dead. Basically. Ganun lang yun. Mindset lang yun. Wala na. Patayin na nila yung BC. Patayin na nila yung Bullet Club. Ganun lang yun. Mas mahirap mag-introduce ng bagong stable kaysa pumatay ng stable. Totoo yun. Sinabi ko na yun last time. Na, mas mahirap mag-introduce ng bago kung magkakaroon sila ng impression sa'yo kaysa magkaroon ka ng bago. Magpatay ka ng bago stable. It means something rather than mag-introduce ka ng something. So, yun. Then, let's bring me to this Bullet Club bullshit. Bago tayo tumuloy. So, the subject here is they're not killing Bullet Club. They are expanding Bullet Club. So, we are now getting Civil War. Malamang sa malamang over on Impact. We're getting this gold bullshit as well down the road. And sasali rin sila Ace, Austin, tsaka si Chris Bay sa Bullet Club down the road nila Jay White. This is just weird for me. Na we're still having two sides of Bullet Club and now we're getting Civil War again. Thank you, David Finlay. Putangin na mo. Sana hindi ka na lang nag-lead sa Bullet Club. You guys are just ruining the Bullet Club. That's the thing. And I don't care about it anymore. Siguro. And wala na. It's just may naiwan na siyang panlasa sa akin na hindi maganda. Kaya please, disband nyo na lang yung BC bago pa matuluyan. Bago pa matuluyan, it's just bad. Yun lang sasabihin ko. Then, so, yun lang yung AEW thoughts ko, basically. It's time for the thoughts. Magbibigay na ako ng thoughts and opinions ko for, tawag dito? Wait lang. Di pa pala. Di pa. Masisingit ko na agad yung dalawang reviews real quick lang. Then, singit nga muna natin. So, we have a fantastic match between Mercedes, then Azami, and Hazuki from Sakura Genesis as well. That was a fantastic match. Sa katunayan, ito rin yung pinili kong pick of the week. Honorable pick ko. Kasi I really like the match and it proves na Sasha Banks or Mercedes Moné is still fantastic as hell. And I love this run so far. This is amazing. Then, the next defense will be on April 23. Mercedes Moné versus Mayu Iwatani. Na balita na natin yun dito on the podcast last time that we're getting this feud and we're getting this match down the road. Okay, I understand the logic now. I might watch this on my birthday. So, may mapapanood ako on my birthday itself. It's a good thing. Then, ano pa? So, Sanada won the IWGP Heavyweight title. So, it's a good thing then. In the long run, magandang bagay siya for New Japan. And Ang objective ko lang dito, sana i-defend siya on every member of LIJ. Sana nga manalo rin si Naito ng G1. Kasi I don't think Naito will win. Most likely nga baka nga si Finlay pa yung manalo. Basta ang dream ko dito, ang dream story ko dito, sana i-book yung Bullet Club. Sana i-book yung yung LIJ versus every single member of sana i-book si Sanada versus every single member of LIJ or sa LIJ. That will be great if you ask me. On the long run, yes, maganda siya. And mangyayari yun. And maganda rin actually na umalis si Sanada. And na-build din siya on the long run. Diba? Maganda siyang bagay. We're not going to toss that down for now. Ayun. So also, note from New Japan, we have a interpromotional event. So New Japan, All Japan Pro Wrestling, and Noah, Pro Wrestling Noah, will present all together on Friday, June 9, 2023. So, wala pang details about it. Kung sa mga broadcasters, wala pa. Most likely sa New Japan World naman ito, o kaya sa Noah, sa side ng Noah. So, yun lang. Yun. Let's do the recap now for Super Card of Honor. Ito dapat yung kasama natin sa part 4 of the cards that we're going to discuss on the part 4. But unfortunately, di ko na siya nagawa. So, I'm going to do it right now. So, El Hijo Vikingo defeated Commander for the AAA Mega Title. Then, the Embassy defeated AR Fox, Blake Christian, and Metallic for the ROH World 6-Man Tag Titles. So, the Embassy is now merged with Swerve Strickland Stable. 51%, 49% advantage, something like that. Parang hindi siya sa WWE UFC thing. So, they're basically merging the two stables now. Then, Athena defeated Yuka Sakazaki for the ROH Women's title. The Samoa Joe versus Mark Briscoe for the ROH title, World title. Then, Hiroshi Tanahashi defeated Daniel Garcia. The Lucha Bros walked out as the tag champions, as they vacated the ROH World Tag Team titles a week before. Then Katsuyori Shibata defeated Wheeler Yuta in a Pure Wrestling Rules for the ROH Pure title. And then the main event, Claudio Castagnoli defeated Eddie Kingston for the ROH title. So, thoughts ko lang dito, this was an amazing event. Unfortunately, di ko siya masundan ng live kasi marami ding wrestling on that time. No? So, dami tayo din nasundan from last week's WrestleMania week. And I'm glad na nakahabol natin ito. Things to note on this event, actually, I love the Vikingo match, the ladder match, of course, and the pure title. That was amazing on its own. Yung Claudio versus Eddie Kingston, it's kinda underwhelming for me. Medyo underwhelming siya. Hindi siya gano'ng nag-deliver sa objective nito na baka si Eddie yung manalo. Medyo hindi siya nag-deliver, under-delivered siya. Medyo bitten nga eh. Bitten na bitten. Sobra. And sana mas humaba pa yung feud. Feeling ko itutuloy pa naman nila. Hindi lang nila na i-story sa ROH. Siguro, basta, maabangan natin yun. Mahaba pa naman. Then, it's good thing din na Lucha Bros na ang naging tag champions. Given naman yun. Medyo reasonable naman sa akin why they won. And yun lang. I think dapat ang next year's event nito hindi na mangyari in a Friday. Daming nangyayari ng Friday eh. Friday at daming nangyari nun eh, di ba? Okay, let's go to Stand and Deliver real quick. So, Tyler Bate, HASU defeated Schism And also, kumalat din on this period na 2 members of Schism left the company asking for their release. Unfortunately, they are rejected. And now they're part of the title picture. Then, Indy Hartwell defeated Roxanne Perez, so we start Gigi Dolin, Lyra Valkyria, and Tiffany Stratton in a ladder match for the NXT Women's title. Good for her. Gallows defeated the family, Tony D and Stax, and the Creed Bros in a triple threat tag team title match for the NXT tag titles. Wesley defeated Axiom, Dragon Lee, Ilya Dragunov, and JD McDonough in a fatal 5-way match for the NXT North American title. Johnny Gargano defeated Grayson Waller in a non-unsanctioned match. Alba Fire and Isla Dawn defeated Fallon Henley and Kiana James for the NXT Women's Tag Team titles. And finally, Carmelo Hayes defeated Braun Breaker for the NXT Championship. Things to note on this match, on this event actually, hindi talaga siya maganda na pang umaga ng Sunday na WrestleMania. I'm not impressed on this placing, but the matches was great. Maganda yung mga matches dito. So, things to note din dito sa event na ito. I'm glad that Chase U kept safe of the Chase U University. Yeah, it's a good thing. Then, Indy Hartwell getting the title. Sure naman ako na short term lang ito. Hindi siya magiging mahaba. Magiging transitional run lang ito. And it may lead to it's either Cora Jade or Tiffany Stratton long run. Roxanne Perez is ready na rin for main roster, no? Then Gallows, gabi naman, mananalo sila, okay. Then Dragon Lee, marami pa siyang mapapatunayan. I'm sad lang na losing streak siya sa ngayon. Isa pa lang yung panalo niya. Okay, it's a good thing. Then Johnny Gargano defeated Waller. Putang ina, parang nanalo pa si Grayson Waller kaysa kay Johnny. Then, Alba Fire and Isla Dawn. It's very given. And I'm glad wala na sa kinapalon yung belts kasi parang object na lang siya sa dalawa no? Then, Carmelo Hayes, finally, long overdue na nakuha niya na yung NXT Championship from Braun Breaker and wala nang kailangan patunayan si Braun. Sa totoo nga, dapat nag-main roster na rin si Braun kasi sobrang ready na siya mag-main roster. And baka isa-save na lang siya sa draft, no? So, yun lang. I really love all of the shows this year for WrestleMania week. Kaso ang hassle kasi ito ay Saturday ng WrestleMania weekend. Ang weird ng placing. Saturday yung Stand and Deliver. Ang weird ng placing niya kasi tawag dito. Parang ang tawag dito, yung ginawa nila on this one, ay pinagpatas-patas nila yung WrestleMania sa Stand and Deliver. Dapat ginawa na lang nila itong Thursday no? Wala naman mawawala sa Thursday. Wala rin namang kalaban sa Thursday. Aside from Impact. Diba? Maganda yun in the long run. But yeah, that's it for me. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to predict Impact Rebellion na mangyayari this Sunday, Monday Manila time on Fight TV. And we have a breaking news ibadali natin for this predictions episode of the podcast. We're going to take a short break. Let's check our bunkmates, Punk Collective.
Been wanting to learn about different careers? Or just need that nudge to pursue your passion projects? Here at Project Offbeat Careers Podcast, we talk to guests with unique careers outside the usual corporate shtick. Listen to historians, gamers, teachers, and cosplayers. See how they've succeeded and how you can apply their learnings to your workplace. Catch us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. And get ready to take the off-beaten path with us.
Naguulat mula sa shore na kasing pretty ko.
Bringing you the latest and greatest.
And diving deep into the cool waters
of BLs and GLs.
And every kind of love there is.
We are
The Shippers.
Sail with us as we watch our favorite queer love story.
And update you about the latest every week.
Kaya tara, sakay na as we sail the open seas.
With new episodes Mondays and Wednesdays on all major podcast streaming platforms.
Sakay na you. Let's go.
Okay, welcome back to the podcast. Welcome back. And now, it's time to predict Impact Rebellion on this week's episode of the podcast. We have a breaking news first na kailangan natin i-break muna bago tayo ma-predictions. Mickie James is not medically cleared to compete for this Sunday's Impact Rebellion. So therefore, a new champion between Jordynne Grace and Deonna Purrazzo will be crowned this Monday at Impact Rebellion. So again, it's a breaking news na na-reveal just moments ago. Mickie James is not medically cleared for Impact Rebellion. Therefore, she will vacate the Impact Knockouts World Championship, and her successor will be crowned this Monday, Manila time. The new champion will be crowned between Deonna Purrazzo and Jordynne Grace at Impact Rebellion this Monday. So, marami tayong coronation this year sa Impact Rebellion. It's very different kumpara last year. Yes, last year we got redemption. This year we have coronation. Yun ang impression ko, no? So let's do the cards that we have. Di pa siya updated kasi di ko siya na-update kasi minove nila yung knockouts tag tyro sa kick-off show ng Impact Rebellion. Excuse me, baka di ko na siya isama. So, we have the updated cards. Na, hindi ko na ipipredict lahat. Siguro ipredict ko na lang yung important, no? So, first, we have the main event. Kushida versus Steve Maclin for the Impact World Championship. Alam niyo naman yung naging balita for the last few weeks that Josh Alexander vacated his Impact World title. And his successor will be crowned then this Sunday at Impact Rebellion. So, safe choice for me. I'm gonna go with Steve Maclin here kasi I think siya na yung ginugroom na next contender or next champion in Impact. But Kushida win will be great too. But I don't see Steve Maclin losing here on this match. Yun lang. Then, yun na nga, predict na natin yung kaka-announce lang. Jordynne Grace versus Deonna Purrazzo in a singles match for the vacant Impact Knockouts World Championship. Personally, I want Deonna to win. But this is a Jordynne Grace must-win situation. I swear. I want Jordynne to win kasi I think she has the leverage now, and I think mas maganda if si Jordynne talaga yung manalo. Ito, mag-a-assume din ako na feeling ko magiging triple threat to, and it may lead to someone debuting or returning, maybe Masha Slamovich din, pwede rin. I think kaso kasali na siya sa team bully kaso malabo na. But yeah, sana maging triple threat siya, then both of them losing, Jordynne and Deonna. But regardless, I'm going to predict Jordynne Grace for this. Kasi Deonna doesn't need the belt personally. For me, she doesn't need the belt. But Deonna winning will be great too for me. But I don't think for the long run that will be great. Then, Team Dreamer. Frankie Kazarian, Tommy Dreamer, Yuya Uemura. Sorry, I'm reading this wrong. Yuya Uemura, Killer Kelly, and Perpinder Gin. I can't read this properly. But whatever. Team Dreamer versus Team Bully in a 10 wrestler hardcore war. Basically, this is a intergender thing, no? I'm confused. Bakit nga ba hindi pa dinadala yung Impact, yung lockdown? I want a lockdown at this point. Every promotion has lockdowns or tawag dito, still cages at this point. But hindi pa rin nila dinadala pabalik yung lockdown, no? Or di pa rin nila na-introduce yung lockdown match. Missed opportunity yon dito sa match na to. But regardless, I think Team Dreamer is losing. I think Team Bully needs to win more here. I think it's a Team Bully win rather than a Dreamer, if you ask me. Then, a three-way elimination match for the X Division title. It's Trey Miguel, Jonathan Gresham, and Mike Bailey. I think it's time for a Jonathan Gresham title run. I think it's time. Then, the elimination order ko. I wish Trey eliminated first, then Gresham and Bailey fighting for the last, and then Jonathan Gresham will be crowned champion. I wish that. Then, Bullet Club, Ace Austin and Chris Bay versus the Motor City Machine Guns in the Ultimate X Tag Team match for the Impact World Tag Titles. Okay. I think no cup na to na mananalo dito ang Bullet Club. Sure naman ako na mananalo dito ang BC. That's for sure. Then, ito announce na din to na magiging kick-off show ito. So, the Coven and the Death Dolls for the Impact Knockouts World Tag Team titles. I think it's the Coven pa din. The Coven ba? The Coven. No, sure. Basta I think they're retaining the belts here. Then, the Design, Dinner Angels, and Sami Callihan or Khan versus Dirty Dango, Joe Hendry, and the returning Santino Marella in a 6-man tag. I think this is the Design I don't think the Design must lose this thing, or I think the Design must win. I think the Design must win. And hindi naman si Santino yung mapipin. That's for sure. Returning Santino Marella is wrestling again for the first time since what? 15? On pay-per-view? Since 15 ba? I'm not sure. Then, PCO versus Eddie Edwards in a last rites match. Impact clarified a few days ago that the last rites match na mangyayari ngayon, it's basically a coffin match. Hindi na siya kagaya ng dati na sobrang disastrous. So, I think this is a PCO win para lang matapos na yung feud for the Honor No More split up. And sana matapos na rin yung feud na to. Pucha na yan. I'm tired of the Honor No More thing na din. And wala na yung mga management between Honor No More, sila Maria. And I don't think it makes sense pa na magkaroon pa ng feud na ganitong Honor No More versus it's just too much for me na mag-feud pa, no? Okay, let's do a real quick for our picks of the week for last week. First is the wrestler of the week. It's Sanada. Yeah, he deserves the belt. Buti pa siya nanalo, si Cody hindi. Wawa ka naman. Then, woman of the week, it's Mercedes Moné. I think she deserves the placing here. Yeah, I think she is. Then, the match of the week is from Ring of Honor TV. It's Athena versus Miyo Yamashita from last week's ROH TV. So, yun lang for this week's episode of the podcast. For your predictions for Impact Rebellion, let me know your predictions on our podcast platforms at the MTG Show Pod. So that's it for our podcast. Follow the podcast on all of the social media platforms and on YouTube at the MTG Show Pod. Don't forget to subscribe on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/at the MTG Show Pod. You can donate and access to our exclusive only content And of course, yung ating stuff on ganknow.com/@the-MTG Show Pod. As low as $2 a month, you can access to our content. Plus, you can join our discussion more to come really soon. Of course, the MPA Show Podcast is part of the Bong Collective, and you can follow the Bong Collective on all of the social media platforms at the Bong PH. You can visit our website at thebongph.com, and of course, you can join our Discord server sa Bong, and you can join our Discord server on the podcast. You can check the links on our description dito sa podcast natin. No? The podcast is available on Spotify, Apple, and soon on YouTube. Sana ma-import na rin natin sa YouTube yung podcast and the rest of the podcast platforms and on the podcast app. Please rate the podcast 5 stars, 6 in Tokyo Dome. All of the links will be available on our linktr, linktr.ee/the-MTG Show Podcast. Follow me on Twitter, IG at AGPenera. And I will see you on April 30 on on MWF Republica, April 30 at 4:30 p.m. at the Power Max Center Spotlight and Power Max Center and Circuit Makati on April 30. The main event for this is Fabio Makisig versus Nigel San Jose, with Tajiri returning to the Philippines since 2019 against Jomar Liwanag. And Yapi is debuting the Philippine wrestling scene not only in MWF but in FPW. Also FPW, the season finale of Astig will be taped this Sunday. Next Sunday pa pala, April 23, 2:30 p.m. The Power Mac as well. Tickets available on Ticket to Me for both events. You can check all of the details on their Facebook pages. On behalf of the podcast, the Bong Collective, and the rest of the podcast hosts here, in behalf of me, this is episode number 158 in cooperation of the Bong Collective. See you on the next one. Bye-bye. See you on next week.
Please rate the podcast 5 stars, 6 in Tokyo Dome on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. We are Bunk Collective.